I sold and got rid of all of my things to move to Tokyo, Japan. So first, welcome to Tokyo. I'm literally filming in this small alleyway here in Asakusa because that's where I've been living for the past few weeks now. But guys, I'm so excited to be here in Japan. I literally have gotten rid of all of my things back in the US, so technically I don't have a US home to travel the world for a year or two. But hi, if you do not know me, my name is Daycia. I also go by Day, and I love to travel. Traveling is a huge passion of mine. I'm originally from the US, but I did a study abroad in 2012 in Japan actually, so honestly full circle, because I moved from Ohio back to Asia in 2017, and I was living in Korea as an English teacher in 2018 for 3 years. So why Japan? Why did I come to this beautiful country? So actually in 2020, I had planned to move from South Korea back to Japan. The panini hit, and I ended up being stuck in Korea. And so to me, it was really important that I managed to continue my dream of travel. And so when I had to move back to the US in mid-2021, I decided that, okay, I'm going to save as much as I can to go and see and travel the world, and I'm going to have my starting point be back to Japan like how I originally wanted to. And so to be able to work so hard alongside with my husband to actually make this happen has been such an exciting point for me, especially since when I originally went back to the US, I felt so suffocated and I just felt like things were just so much more tense, and it just didn't really feel like home necessarily. There are things I really appreciate about the US, and you know, every country has its pros and cons, including Japan and including Korea. Any other country that I plan on visiting has its pros and cons, right? But I just felt like back in the US, the tension just was so intense, and I feel like there was something missing, and it just didn't really feel like home, or it just didn't really align with my values. It just feels nice to have safety here, access to public infrastructure, being able just to see like small businesses and people everywhere, and everything just comes at ease, and I feel like those are just things that the US lacks. And so yeah, I'm excited to be starting back here in Japan and hopefully make my way around the world as I originally intended to. So the feelings I have about this big move is that it's a mixture of things. For one, I feel pretty bittersweet because I do miss the friends I made. I made some really amazing friends back in the States, back in New York City and in Houston, and it is a little bit sad to kind of be away from their lives. You know, I'm not part of their journey anymore, at least physically. But at the same time, I do feel relief, especially I feel like when I first moved back to the US in 2021, I felt so much tension, I don't know, just so much divide, which I feel like I don't really remember that existing beforehand, but it just felt like every time I would come back to the States, whether if I'm flying from Hawaii, for example, it would just make me feel very heavy, and I feel like the people felt angrier and stressed and frustrated, which is super understandable given the current state of the US. But also at the same time, I work super hard to make this dream come true, and to be able to like achieve my dream, I just feel very grateful, but also like super excited because I don't know what the future holds, but I find enjoyment in that. So yeah, I just can't wait to learn and grow more as a person. Okay, so even though I'm super excited to be here in Japan, there are always, you know, a few issues or problems that people may experience when they move abroad. I think for me personally, it's obviously being away from all of my new friends that I made. But I think too, you have to understand there's a lot of things to just keep in mind, right? So how do I move with all my stuff? Do I leave stuff behind? Financially, what am I going to do? Etc. So for me personally, I'm still running my photography business while abroad, right? But that might be a little bit difficult at times because I'm not physically there, and so therefore I have to hire people. And I also want to explore other business ventures. But when you run a business, it takes a lot of time and energy and discipline. I think it's just getting adjusted again to Asia. I mean, overall, I've been here for many, many years before, so it's not terribly too difficult. But you know, there is language barriers. I really do love having deep conversations, and it's a little bit hard to do in your non-native language, right? I tend to run into some barriers if I want to get deeper. A valid and real thing that a lot of people experience when they move abroad, because they might be leaving their friends, they might be leaving their families, and to try to tackle a foreign place can be full of discomfort. But at the same time, I do find excitement in that. I think it's kind of cool to kind of challenge yourself, and how can I combine my love for business and photography and video? How can I do that while abroad, right? Those are things I'm exploring. I love Japan, and I love living abroad, but there are just things you have to think about. But I think what really kind of made it click for me is that, as I was saying earlier, living in the US can feel stressful. Just having access to public infrastructure, healthcare, healthy foods, walkability, like to be able to do something like this, I feel is priceless personally. And I always live with the idea that life is short and you never know what could happen, right? And there's people out there that are lying on their deathbed wishing that they had the opportunity to do something that they always wanted to achieve and to work towards their dreams. And I think to me, I've always kind of seen value in that. I've always been a type of person that if there's a clear goal, something that I want, I'm going to make it happen because I don't want to live with any regrets in my life. We all have things and dreams. And I think sometimes we need a little bit of push. So if you need a friend to tell you that you can do it, you can do whatever you want, you should do whatever you want, because with the current state of the world, especially in the US, now might be the right time to actually do something. I'm just letting you know, you got this, and I can't wait to see you guys in future videos. Take care. Okay, hopefully that's okay.